This is my Marin San Quentin, and for those watching, it's also my current hardtail, and it's great. 10 out of 10. Best bike ever. Thanks for watching, comment, like, and subscribe. Okay, now I'm just kidding about some of that. This bike is great, and I dig it. However, there are some things I don't like, and I'm hoping to fix most of those issues on this video. The biggest problem I had with this bike was, of course, the size to me ratio. What that means, because I just made that up, is that this bike is a size large, and I'm an above average, don't ask questions, 5'10" Adonis chiseled out of Mount Olympus. While Marin says this bike should fit me just right, I found myself having to swap the standard 175 crankset to a 165mm one, and from then on this bike has fit me perfectly. Now while that took care of my sizing issue, these next issues are more or less common annoyances and aren't specific to any one bike. But my biggest annoyance is the amount of noise that comes out of this bike when rolling over bumpy sections. Now I believe these noises could be coming from the cables and of course the mid-range Shimano derailleur that came installed in this bike. Now I know what you're thinking, just swap to a new derailleur, spend all the money. Bro, no, not anytime soon. I have to plan to move soon, and that would just cost a lot of money. However, I was thinking maybe there are other ways to quiet down the bike that'll cost much less and won't hurt the bank. The first things I want to adjust on this bike is changing the pedals to a Crank Brothers size large. Before this, the bike had a pair of Fuker pedals. Now I've used these and I've used the authentic Chester pedals before in the past, and they perform pretty much the same. But I did want a bigger surface area for my foot to feel better while it's grounded. And the stem pedal fits the bill, and my size 12 shoes appreciate their support. Next, I want to do something about cable management. Zip ties do work fine, and to be honest, they're cheap and versatile for anyone to buy them and just have them around the house. But these Jaguar hooks look clean and are easy enough to install without the need of a heat gun or power tools. I work with heat shrink in my job and I hate taking it off, so I decided this is a better way to go around doing things because it requires less effort in the install and more importantly, the removal process. If I had to make a complaint, this honestly could have been cheaper, and I don't much care for the logo, but that's just me. I also wanted to install these rubber grips on my SLX brakes. Not for any real reason, I just wanted to try it out. A 4-pack is pretty cheap on Amazon, so I figured why not. Right off the bat, I dig the way the green matches almost identically to the P&W grips. It's almost at the point that you would think that it's from the same company. It isn't though. The install is pretty simple, and in this case you might have to cut it to length. Spray some alcohol for lubricant and just slide it in place. Finally, to silence probably what my biggest culprit of all the noise on the bike is, I bought this STFU online. After seeing a bunch of other people review it for their videos, I decided to give it a shot. The install process was pretty easy, and the website does provide a PDF to follow from beginning to end. But I won't say that I had a blast doing it, or that I'll look forward to doing it again anytime soon. I will say the process was straightforward for sure. With everything done to the bike, the next step is to add a co-pilot and then stare at it. After everything that's been added to this bike, the bike performs about the same as before. I mean, that's to be expected. I didn't really add anything new. To the credit of the STFU, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It keeps the bike chain from slamming into the chainstay. My only complaint is that even though I followed the directions to the T, to me it almost looks as if the accessory started to lean towards the wheel spokes. And since I'm not one to put myself at risk, I don't know if I'll keep running it, but it does do what it says it's supposed to do. This is just my opinion. The rubber grips on the brake pads feel kinda good, and I'm probably gonna leave them on there. The Jaguar clips are also cool, so they stay as well. The rubber ducky is a pretty dope looking co-pilot, and the spinning prop made me laugh a couple times, so he'll stay every now and then. Finally, the stem pedals are also a big plus in my book because I don't find myself adjusting my footing because there's a much larger surface area compared to the Fuker pedals that were on there before. Overall, I'm happy with all the upgrades that I put on this bike, and time will tell if they address my biggest annoyance on my favorite hardtail to date. If you made it this far, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.
I just think it's kind of cute, honestly, the way it just like bounces around.
It's adorable.
This thing adds like 5 miles per hour.
Huh?
The thing adds like 5 miles per hour.
The ducky?
Yeah.
Yep.
Siam speed.